So the year of 2023 has come to an end, and many things like ordinals, BlackRock, and even the parabolic Bitcoin hash rate has taken most people by surprise. But what comes next in 2024? Bitcoin OG Adam Back is sticking by his guns, and he believes that we're going to see a $100,000 Bitcoin before the April 2024 halving. And we also have some other very fascinating predictions from Samson Mow, Lynn Alden, and Michael Saylor. But before we get to any of those, I want to cover my 5 predictions for 2024. So let's start off with the least interesting to myself, but probably the most requested, and that is actually the price. Where is the price of Bitcoin going to go in 2024? Now, you guys are probably sick of me saying this, but you should never, ever listen to anyone if they claim to know exactly where the price of Bitcoin is going to go in the short or the medium term, especially myself. But for the fun of this little end of year Bitcoin prediction video, I'm going to just make a mild bet, okay? A mild prediction. I think Bitcoin's going to probably take a new all-time high in 2024. Again, this isn't, a revolutionary claim to make. Bitcoin typically makes a new all-time high in the year of its halving. Okay, so I think we'll probably see Bitcoin sitting around $50,000 to $70,000 by the end of 2024. Again, I don't stand by this prediction. I'm not putting money on this prediction. The only thing that I feel very strongly about is that I believe Bitcoin will be worth tens of millions of dollars by the end of 2030. That's the only price prediction I've ever really stood behind. But anyway, the reason I believe Bitcoin is going to be worth over $50,000 by the end of 2024 has to do with the second price prediction, and that is macro liquidity. Okay, for the first time in well over a year, we're beginning to watch global liquidity actually start to increase again. This is very interesting. Many people believe that the decline in liquidity we've seen over the past 12 to 18 months was actually going to cause a great recession, okay? A Great Depression 2.0. You guys might have seen charts like this that were heavily and frequently thrown around, and that was showing that the fact that the M2 money supply was actually contracting at its fastest pace since the 1920s Great Depression. And I recognize this chart. It is important to keep an eye on what America is doing, but most of these charts don't take into consideration the fact that we're watching the BTFP continue to hit new all-time highs nearly every month, okay? This program, the BTFP, was actually rolled out all the way back in early March 2023 when we saw that banking crisis, and since then, we've only seen more and more banks go into this program to get more liquidity from the Fed. This is obviously not reflected in the BTFP. Actually, I don't know if that's the case. So if that's wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. But I'm pretty sure that the BTFP is actually not factored into the money supply chart that we're all seeing floated around. And something else to keep in mind that many of these America-centric bears don't take into consideration is the fact that we're watching, liquidity expand globally, okay? Yes, America might be, pretending to shrink its balance sheet and withdraw liquidity away from the market and telling you at the same time, hey, don't look at the BTFP. But the rest of the world, they're expanding liquidity. They're dropping interest rates, okay? So I think we're going to see more continuation of this trend in 2024, and it lines up perfectly with the Bitcoin halving and the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Speaking of the Bitcoin spot ETFs, how much capital is going to come into them? Well, we've seen lots of estimates. We've seen some more conservative estimates by Galaxy, which actually put a lot of numbers and data behind their prediction. They said it was around $15 billion of capital they expected to flow into the ETF. We've even seen more bullish estimates suggesting that there could be around $200 billion of capital flowing into a Bitcoin spot ETF in the first year. And if you had to peg me down somewhere, I'd probably have to bet that I think we're probably going to exceed expectations. I think most of the, traditional Wall Street guru types, they think the Bitcoin halving is priced in the same way they thought the Bitcoin halving was priced in 2012, 2016, 2020. They still have not done their research. So I think the halving is going to have a massive impact on the Bitcoin price, combined with whatever demand we do see from Wall Street. I think it's going to kind of compound on each other, and I think that we are going to see these enormous fund flows into an American spot Bitcoin ETF. We've had some people like Michael Saylor have actually said that the spot Bitcoin ETF is going to be the biggest thing that's happened to Wall Street in over 30 years.
Well, I think you can't really underestimate the significance of the spot ETFs. It's not unreasonable to suggest that this may be the biggest development on Wall Street in 30 years. I mean,
Look, I actually tend to think Sailor's on the money here. I think it's going to be an absolutely enormous event for Bitcoin, okay? I'm wildly bullish on a spot ETF happening in America, the financial capital of the entire world, okay? So they are my three predictions. Let's move on to the fourth, the hash rate. This is the least confident I feel about. I don't know what's going to happen in the Bitcoin mining space, okay? I talk about this commonly on the channel, but this is the first Bitcoin bear market where hash rate did not see a major correction, okay? Hash rate is going absolutely parabolic. It's up by nearly 7x since China banned Bitcoin mining in 2021, okay? So think about that for just 1 second. The hash rate is up by 7x. The Bitcoin price is still lower than it was when China banned Bitcoin mining in 2021. So something unprecedented is happening in the Bitcoin mining space. So trying to make predictions of where the Bitcoin hash rate is going to be next year is a fool's errand, and I'm not even going to take part in it, okay? I have absolutely no idea where the Bitcoin hash rate is going to be next year, especially around the times of the halvings. It is, relatively common to see, Bitcoin miner death spirals or corrections in the hash rate as that block subsidy gets cut in half for the miners. But this year, we need to take into consideration the fact that ordinals have been paying the miners pretty generously, okay? Transaction fees are taking up a higher and a higher portion of the rewards actually paid to miners, okay? Miners aren't just relying on the block subsidy, okay? Even recently, we've actually seen that the Bitcoin miners are actually getting paid more than the Ethereum miners or other blockchain miners, which is a huge milestone, and it doesn't happen very often, okay? So Bitcoin mining hash rate, I have no idea where it's going to go. I still feel strongly about the fact that Bitcoin miners are being plugged in by nation states overtly all around the world, okay? I've stood behind this thesis since 2021. More recently, this thesis has been proved true with the Kingdom of Bhutan coming out and actually announcing, hey, look, yeah, you caught us. We've been mining Bitcoin since 2019 when it was under $5,000 a pop, okay? And even publicly, we've seen El Salvador and Oman announce billion-dollar Bitcoin mining ventures. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I talk about it in nearly every video, but I believe there are other nation states around the world copying exactly what the Kingdom of Bhutan did. So let's move on to my fifth and final Bitcoin price prediction. But before I get to that, I want to actually cover the more meaningful price predictions, the price predictions from the Bitcoin OGs we mentioned in the introduction. So let's start off with Adam Back. So Adam Back is standing behind his guns regarding his $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction in April 2024. I think this is fascinating. It's very interesting. Some other great minds like Max Kaiser actually look at the Bitcoin hash rate with great importance as well, which is kind of what Adam Back is doing here. He's saying, hey, look at the Bitcoin hash rate. Price has to catch up to hash. Okay, now what about someone else on this price prediction list? Let's talk about Samson Mow's $1 million Bitcoin price prediction. Now, I think this one is most interesting because it's talking about the Bitcoin multiplier effect, okay? So few people in the Bitcoin space actually talk about the Bitcoin multiplier effect, let alone understand the Bitcoin multiplier effect. But I think Samson is on the money here, okay? I don't think it would be a huge shock to see Bitcoin do something absolutely crazy in a very short window of time, okay? Now, I think this could be a big theme of 2024 with the fact that we are watching this decline in liquidity in the Bitcoin space, okay? And I actually plan to be a part of this decline in liquidity. If you have Bitcoin on an exchange and if you want help getting that Bitcoin off an exchange or even just setting up a collaborative multi-signature setup, reach out to me and we can actually get you started with a multi-signature setup with 3 keys in 3 different countries in under 60 minutes. It's what we're doing at the Bitcoin Advisors. We are on an absolute mission to drain the exchanges. So again, you can book a free consultation with me by clicking on the link in the description of today's video, and we can discuss your options surrounding setting up a collaborative custody multi-signature setup. Okay, so now I think this is very important, especially considering the push that we are seeing from traditional finance towards this Bitcoin spot ETF product. Okay, they don't want you to take custody of your Bitcoin. That should tell you everything you need to know about the Bitcoin spot ETF. I actually think it's pretty interesting that at the same time this spot ETF is being announced and kind of pushed through by Wall Street, we're watching Elizabeth Warren go on a campaign trying to criminalize self-custody. We might talk about that in another video that I've already filmed, but I want to first talk about my last Bitcoin prediction for 2025, and that has to do with nation-state Bitcoin adoption, okay? Who is going to be the next country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender? Many people think it's going to be Argentina, but I once again have a controversial opinion surrounding this subject. And that is because I found out some pretty interesting things in the 2.5 months that I found when I was staying in Argentina. If you want to learn a little bit more about what Bitcoin adoption is like or what hyperinflation is like in Argentina and why I don't believe they'll be the next Bitcoin country, highly recommend you check out the video I recorded on that topic. I'm going to slap a link on screen right about there. And with all that said, hope you guys have a great new year and I'll see you all in the next one.